Yes, I'm afraid it's true and I'm really sorry. After 13 years of making Wheeler Dealers, I'm now going to be leaving the show. The announcement hit like a thunderclap. No one saw it coming. One moment Edd China was calmly guiding viewers through a suspension rebuild with his signature calm and surgical precision. And the next he was gone, vanished, no warning, no grand send-off, just gone. Fans were stunned, blindsided, left grasping for answers. This wasn't just any co-host walking away from a television gig. Edd China wasn't a sidekick, and he certainly wasn't replaceable. He was the soul of the show, the mechanical mastermind, the quiet genius, the heart beneath the hood of Wheeler Dealers. His departure didn't feel like a routine casting change. It felt like a betrayal. The question that echoed through the community was simple, but urgent. Why? Why would someone walk away from a wildly successful, beloved series at the height of its popularity? What could possibly be so wrong behind the scenes that Edd China would turn his back on the show he helped build from the ground up? To understand what really happened, you have to go back to when this unlikely duo first took the automotive world by storm. It started with a modest but clever idea: take old classic cars, fix them up, and walk viewers through the process in a way that was both informative and entertaining. Two men, one garage, and a revolutionary concept that would go on to redefine automotive television. Mike Brewer, already an experienced presenter with deep roots in the British car scene, brought the energy, the charisma, and the know-how to find undervalued gems hidden in driveways, barns, and backlots across the UK. He was the dealmaker, the fast-talking negotiator with a glint in his eye and a passion for the hustle. Then there was Edd China's 6'7", unassuming, soft-spoken, but with a mind like an engineering encyclopedia. Where Mike brought flash, Edd brought finesse. Together, they formed a beautifully mismatched partnership, one that resonated with viewers on a deeper level than anyone could have predicted. What set Wheeler Dealers apart wasn't just the cars or the banter, it was the methodical, transparent way in which the work was shown. No quick cuts, no dramatic montages that skipped over the meat of the repairs. When Edd took on a gearbox, a suspension rebuild, or a brake job, the camera stayed on. The audience wasn't just watching a show, they were learning. Each episode was a masterclass in DIY car restoration, for those who had always dreamed of rolling up their sleeves and tackling a project in their own garages. Edd China wasn't just a mechanic, he was a mentor. The garage became a classroom, and for over a decade, that formula thrived. The show didn't just succeed, it became a cult phenomenon. Viewers across the globe connected not just with the cars, but with the easy camaraderie between Mike and Edd. It felt genuine. It felt like you were watching two old friends argue over a carburetor, while making something beautiful together. But even as the show reached new heights and became a global hit, quiet tensions began to rumble. Beneath the surface, there were whispers, subtle at first, of disagreements behind the scenes, of creative decisions made without consensus, of growing friction. Because as we all know, success rarely comes without cost. And for Wheeler Dealers, that bill was coming. The turning point came in 2013, when the show made the leap across the Atlantic. The move to America wasn't just about bigger cars and sunnier weather, it was about expansion. The US car scene was massive, and the show had already found a loyal American audience. This was an opportunity to scale up, to become not just a UK favorite, but a global automotive powerhouse. But with that expansion came a new kind of pressure. The production budget ballooned, the sets got slicker, more executives came into the fold. Suddenly, this humble garage operation began to resemble a corporate machine. Meetings multiplied, decisions were made, not in workshops but in boardrooms. The authenticity that had once defined the show slowly began to fade. The long, detailed repair sequences, the very thing that made the show special, were shortened. Edd's intricate diagnostics, his explanations of complex mechanical systems, his engineering hacks, all were trimmed down or edited out entirely. More time was given to Mike's wheeling and dealing. More airtime was filled with flashy visuals and punchy pacing. Fewer nuts and bolts, more sizzle. Fans noticed. They took to online forums and comment sections to voice their concerns. Where's the detail? They asked. Where's the how? What happened to the learning? To some within the industry, these were just standard tweaks for the American market. But to Edd China, it was something more. It was a fundamental shift, a slow, creeping dismantling of everything that made Wheeler Dealers matter. The show wasn't just about fixing cars, it was about respecting the process. And more importantly, respecting the intelligence of the audience. When the studio pushed for even more changes, less workshop time, more outsourced labor, and a reduced role for Edd, he knew a line had been crossed. Faced with this erosion of the show's values, Edd had a decision to make, and it wasn't an easy one. This wasn't just about a job. This was about identity, integrity, everything he believed in as a creator and a teacher. And so Edd China did the unthinkable. He walked away, not with fanfare, not on air, but in the most Edd China way possible, quietly, respectfully, and with complete honesty. He sat in front of a camera on his personal YouTube channel and spoke directly to the fans. No flashy editing, no set, just Edd, a blank wall, and the truth. In a calm but powerful message, he laid it all out. The network, now rebranded as Motor Trend, wanted to further reduce the mechanical segments. They wanted to make the show faster, flashier, and more commercially viable. To Edd, that wasn't just a creative shift, it was a betrayal of the show's heart. He couldn't fake it. He couldn't pretend to be okay with watering down the very thing that inspired viewers around the world to pick up a wrench. And so, he made the hardest call of his career and walked away from Wheeler Dealers. The videos spread like wildfire. Fans were stunned, but they rallied behind him. In the comments, Edd was praised for standing up for his principles, for choosing passion over profit. It was a rare moment in television, a creator putting integrity above everything else. But as the support for Edd grew, so did a darker undercurrent. A second narrative emerged, one that cast Mike Brewer of the network as the villain. After all, someone had to be responsible. Fans began pointing fingers. Accusations flooded online forums. Mike must have known, they said. He let it happen. He stood by while Edd was pushed out. Some even claimed he had lobbied for more control, aligning himself with the network's vision and leaving Edd behind. The speculation became a wildfire, fanned by emotion and grief. Mike Brewer publicly denied the allegations. He said he supported Edd's decision, that he respected him and wished him well, but the internet didn't care. The backlash turned toxic. In a heartbreaking interview, Mike revealed the toll it took on his family. He described receiving death threats. His wife was terrified. His daughter was threatened. Law enforcement had to get involved. What had started as a creative disagreement had spiraled into real-world danger. And Mike, regardless of what had actually happened, bore the brunt of it. Edd never publicly addressed the hate Mike received. He didn't feed the fire, but he didn't douse it either. The silence was deafening. And in that silence, Mike Brewer stood alone in the storm. Still, the show had to go on. Wheeler Dealers was a global brand, a machine that needed to keep moving. So, the search for a new mechanic began. Enter Anstead, handsome, charismatic, and mechanically gifted. A former police officer turned custom car builder, seemed like the perfect fit. He had experience on camera and under the hood. The chemistry with Mike was solid. The episodes were polished, and for a while it worked. Ratings held. The format remained, but the comparisons were inevitable. Where Edd had been deliberate and detailed, was fast and polished. Where Edd taught, entertained. Some fans loved the new energy. Others missed the quiet wisdom. The show, they said, was becoming more about cars and less for car lovers. In 2020, moved on. No scandal, no drama. Just another chapter closed. Then came Mark Elvis Priestley, passionate, knowledgeable, and deeply likable. A former race mechanic with a warm, approachable style. He brought skill and enthusiasm to the workbench. But still, the critiques lingered. The builds were good. The hosts were capable. But something was missing. The heart, the soul. That feeling that Wheeler Dealers once gave viewers, the feeling that they were in on the journey, learning as they went, guided by someone who truly loved the process. Meanwhile, away from the spotlight, Edd China was rebuilding, but this time on his terms. In 2021, he returned not to television, but to YouTube. He launched Workshop Diaries, a show that stripped everything back. No deadlines, no executives, just Edd, a camera, and raw engineering. Each episode was a deep, thoughtful dive into the kind of work fans had always loved. From electric conversions, 2 gearboxes and classic restorations, it was Wheeler Dealers in spirit, but freer, deeper, and more authentic. Because Wheeler Dealers was never just about cars, it was about trust, about fixing what's broken, not just under the hood but between people. And maybe, just maybe, the garage door isn't closed forever. Maybe it's just waiting to be opened one